All right, welcome back, Youngzers episode 27, and I'm pretty excited. I have acquired an item that's Pittsburgh lore, Pittsburgh memorabilia, and I didn't show it to either of these two guys yet, but I want to get the reaction right out of here. Look at this thing right here. Can of icy light. All right, nothing too special about it. We turn it around, and look what it has on it. It's David Bednar and his wife.
Oh God!
And you know what this is? It's from their actual wedding. Like, this is from David Bednar's actual wedding. So I will not be drinking this. I will not be opening it. But I think it's one of the cooler items I have in my inventory. Probably the coolest item I have in my inventory.
How'd you score that?
My dad got him because he knows one of the guys that went to the wedding. So he brought this for. That's pretty cool. Like, who knows? David Bednar might have like spit on it or something. You know, I have an All-Star Pitchers can of beer in my house. That's pretty cool. So I won't be opening it.
That's not saying much. Jeff Locke was an All-Star.
Yeah, but this guy's a Yinzer though. Like
he's a Yinzer All-Star. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
All right. Fair enough.
But anyway, now that I got that off, how are you guys doing? What's new? Anything?
I'm going to start this off. Dan went to the casino last night. Spur of the moment trip. Tables. I wasn't getting a good vibe. Not getting a good vibe. Sat down, playing about even. Whatever. Just as I'm hitting a hot streak, guess what happens? And this is fishy to me.
Did an old Filipino guy sit down?
No. The card machine jams.
I've never had that.
I've never seen it before. 10-minute delay. It was the equivalent. It was the football equivalent of icing the kicker. Mojo was just out the door. It was crazy to see the two cards they pulled out were actually torn. It actually got jammed up in there. So the guy had to, I don't even know, it was maybe above the pit boss. I'm not sure. Had to come in, show the two cards, put the new ones in the deck. They had to reload the whole deck. Just iced out, and then it was shambles the rest of the time for me.
So
I was mental.
When they went and changed everything out, did they put 6 new decks into the machine? Yeah, okay, that would make sense then.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The only thing that I've had crazy happen to me was the first time I was ever there. I was 21, and it was like a week after my 21st birthday. I went down with Bruno. Beard was there, and somebody else. I can't remember. There were always 4 of us rolled down there, and I sat down at blackjack, but I didn't know playing out of a shoe. You know what a shoe is? So it's where they you could actually see the cards.
Like the card actually slides. Yeah.
Well, you got the machine, and it's that gray machine they put the cards into.
Yeah.
The shoe they don't. So you see all 6 decks. Well, what happened was
coming down right.
Yeah. So what happened was the guy, whenever you're finished with a shoe, they put it into the table and it automatically shuffles them up and everything. Well, he went to take them out, and they went all over the place. So he was cool. He was a nice gentleman, and we were killing it. I was killing it that night. I was doubling hard 12s and stuff because I didn't know. Now I know.
As you would.
But I was killing it, and I was up like $200, $300. And then he's like, hey, talk to the pit boss. He's like, can I just hand shuffle these? It'll be faster. And he's sitting there just like Vegas, casino style shuffling them, everything. And I killed it on that shoe. I think I went up another $200 just on that shoe. I was killing it. So that's the craziest thing, like malfunction I've ever seen. But I've never seen one of them automatic dealers jam.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like the 2 cards. I think it was like a 9 and a 2 were both just torn almost in half. And I was like, I've never seen this before. It was like icing the kicker. I was just, the 10-minute delay, and you're sitting there waiting. I was just, the dealer. Then it was like something insane. Nicole was with me. She wanted to go down. I was like, all right, I'll go down. They flipped, and it was like they had 12, and they just kept flipping. It ended up hitting 21 off of like 3 cards. Like it just kept hitting. One of those times where it's like, all right, just not my night. Had to pack it up, head home. It wasn't down bad or anything, but just the fact that happened when I was playing, I've never seen that before. It was pretty cool to see the process of them, having to draw that though. That's pretty cool.
So I've seen them refelt tables. Like they'll shut that table down. Like especially in the smoker section. Hey, if you smoke, whatever, if that's your thing, and there'll be cigarette burns in old felt. So I've seen them refelt them off to the side and stuff like that. But yeah, no mechanical malfunction like that. That's pretty wild. But I have realized, Mott's, and take this to the bank with you. Something like that happens, I don't care like how long it takes for them to fix that, whatever. You color up right then and there, and you walk away because that's just something's telling you not to.
It's just bad juju right there. Yeah.
You could tell like the serious players because there was a couple at the table. This kid next to me, I don't know, he probably our age, maybe a little younger. He was just throwing hundreds down. He was like putting $15 on 20, 13, all that. As soon as that happened, he's like looking around him and this other guy. They're at the opposite end. You could tell who's like the people that are down there. They immediately pulled their stuff and they were getting a little antsy. You could tell. Yeah.
So and I don't know if it's mental, and you probably it has no bearing on if you're going to win the rest of the night or not. But that little mishap in your vibe or in your feng shui is off, then it just doesn't feel right. That's when you just color up and you leave. You take your money and run. And honestly, you're not going to be down too bad. Even if you were down, let's say $50 at that point, you still put your money. Yay, I want color up, please. I'm out of here.
That's exactly what I did. I played a couple $25 hands, got it back up. I think I was down like 40. And I was like, all right, I'm chalking it, calling it a night. Because like you said, this is in no way, shape, form related to any sports we're talking. But like the night we went down there, for your birthday, we were in a zone at that table. We were locked in. And then there's times where, as weird as it is to say, you're at the table and it just doesn't feel right. And that's what it was last night. I just just some bad luck that happening. I was like, yep, cutting the losses, heading out.
So is the river is cursed?
No.
They're leaking. The roof's leaking refrigerant. The card holders can't distribute right. They're ripping them out. I think it's cursed, Bad beat.
You think it's built on top of like an Indian burial ground or something, huh? No.
We're the Pirates playoff.
That's probably buried deep down there. But no, I like the rivers. I do. I know a lot of people rag on the rivers. No free plugs, but I don't care. I know they don't comp when you're playing, so that kind of sucks because I went up to the Meadows. This would have been 5 years ago now, if not maybe a little longer. And I was playing blackjack, and a lady was walking around, and I was like, she's like, drinks. I was like, oh, it's my birthday. She's like, okay, well, you get a free drink anyway if you're playing. I'm like, really? She's like, yeah, we comp here. So that's one of the pluses. Like, if you are a drinker and you want to drink for free, as long as you're playing up there, they'll comp you. So I got a couple free beers that night, but I don't go to drink anymore. When I'm going to gamble, I kind of want to be clear mind and just play and try to beat the house, and you never do. But as long as you come out on top or close to even, that's a win.
It's all business.
We're there to make money when we go down. We're not there to booze it up like you said, lose money, acting like an idiot. We're down there. It's the Youngzers, we park on what level?
7.
Floor 7. And we roll in. Dan, you got your song.
I
We're heading down.
I do.
You got your pre-game ritual. We're locked in. We don't got time for the...
What song is it?
It's White Walls by Macklemore. Don't ask me why. Years ago, see, we're going off the rails a little bit here. It's all right. Years ago, Bruno and I would go down in a lot. I mean, like 2 to 3 times a week. We'd be down there at 5 a.m. playing $5 hands and stuff. And we were going down. He's like, hey, last time I was down here, I was listening to this song, and it's like my casino song. So, and he puts it on. I was like, you know what? I'm listening to it every time before I come down here. And anytime I don't, I lose. Anytime I do listen, even if I win $10, I'm still winning. So
yeah, that's true.
It's one of my things. And like, you'll see me when I dress to go there. I get ready whenever I'm in my house. I'll put my earrings in. And then I always have to wear a certain chain when I get down there. And I don't know. I just feel like it's like good luck charms, kind of. Like you get them ladies at bingo, they got their little knickknacks out, So it's kind of the same
dolls.
thing. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing.
They got their little stamper that they only use for certain cards.
Yep.
Yeah.
I went down there and I was like, it doesn't feel right. Dan's not at the table. He's not here. We're not locked in. The vibes are off. So I don't know if it's going to have to be like a Youngzers thing going to the casino from now on, but you get the crew that has the mojo going.
Yeah. That's the other thing. When I would go with Bruno, it wasn't just, hey, somebody to go, because Beard would come with us too. I'd always ask Beard to come, so Beard would come down with us too. And it was just good people to be around. And when you're going and risking money, so to say, it was just something fun to have good company with you and have a good vibe with you. And then even if I did lose, if somehow I would come out down bad, which happened once or twice, it's happened. You got good company around you to kind of pick you up. But to me, when I'm going to risk money like that, I'm never going to be down bad because I'm taking money that I'm okay losing. Maybe I would spend it on something stupid. But to me, I can go down and try and double it, or win a little bit of money, or just have fun. Be out of the house, and to me, that's more fun than just spending on something stupid, I guess.
No, and I like the part of it too is like we're at a table like when we were there. There's always characters there. Like we were playing. Dan's on one end, I'm on the other. We're having a good old time. This old dude comes in, shuffles in. He's throwing money on the table. We're hitting a hot streak. We're all winning. He's throwing up fist bumps. I missed the first couple because I was laser focused.
Left
and
hanging.
Eventually, and this is where the luck changed. I'm like, all right, this guy, for those of you that don't know, Ryan and I both play in a bocce league in the summer. So, athletes, right?
Yeah.
It's a game of skill, right?
It
Pick
is.
up basketball and bocce. That's what happens when you get older. I'm like, this dude is 100% an old Italian that has played bocce at some point in his life. And I'm like, sir, I need you to answer this question. Have you ever played bocce before? Nah. I'm like, oh, well, shit. Real quick. He gave me a little bit of, it was a little bit of guff back. And I was like, all right, I totally misread that one. I'm never going to be a criminal profile or anything like that. I was just way off. Vibes changed. He was a little apprehensive after that, But, the characters down there are just, it's just wild. Just a people watch down there, too. I love doing that.
Yeah, that's like worth the free admission right there. Like just seeing the people around, Yeah, there's some memes there. I'm a people watcher.
I was playing one time. See, now you got me off the rails here. I apologize. Just reel me back in if you need me. But we're sitting there playing blackjack and having a good time. It was me, Bruno, Beard was there. Caleb might have been there that time. We almost had a whole table. There was like 6 of us. And I hear all this commotion over by the craps tables, which is another fun game to play. But it's very confusing. You got to pay attention. But I hear all this commotion. Yeah, I will. But I look over and there's this bald guy just screaming at everybody. I'm like, okay. And I lock eyes with him. And that was the worst thing I could have done because he starts motherfucking me. But I'm like, he's like 50 yards away and he's pointing. And I'm like, that's a point right at me. So I'm just sitting there minding my own business. So I immediately get back down to my cards because I want no confrontation. I want nothing. He's like, you mother MFer, you. He just starts chugging on over to me. And I'm like, he's taking 8 strides here and he's already at me. Like these are big strides. He's not a big guy or anything. And he's up in my shit and he's in my personal bubble and no fly zone. You're about to get hit, bud. And then the pit boss starts screaming at him. Next thing you know, security comes out of nowhere, tackles this guy. They're all over him. They're screaming at him, telling him he's got to go. But all I heard in all the commotion was, I'm the MFer, and I made him lose like all this money. I was like, I wasn't even playing craps. I had nothing to do with it. You just want somebody to take it out on. You lost all your life savings or something. You can't pay rent this week or this month. That's not my fault.
It must all go down at the craps table because I saw this dude one time. He was like absolutely like blitz, like off his mind. He was hammered playing craps, and he just kept reciting this one line from a song. And he went to throw like the dice, and he just missed the whole table and just threw him like down the casino floor, like rolling away. Everyone's just like, oh, like it was a bad beat situation. I think everyone left the table after that.
Yeah, they don't like that.
Well, no, because we went down a couple summers ago, and this is still going off. But Will was like, "Oh, craps is the way. It's the best way to win money down there. Highest odds, whatever."
Best odds, yeah.
He's like, he did all this like prepping for it, like practicing at home and doing all this. So we're all around the craps table. He's getting ready to throw the dice. Absolutely whips them, and they bounce off the table. One hits the worker, the other one goes skidding down the aisle. It was the worst. Who was that? 50 Cent at the Mets game, the first pitch. It's the equivalent of that was the craps equivalent of 50 Cent's opening pitch.
There is a technique. You pick them up and you have them on whatever, and then you toss them like this, kind of like a granny pitch and slow pitch softball.
Don't
but
you not blow on them for luck though a little bit?
see,
That's what I heard.
You see everybody throwing them like that. I've seen, like, if you want them to land how you want them and you want better odds and you toss them like that, there's just a lot in craps and it can get confusing. And you're on the pass line, don't pass you, man. You make a come bet and then you're betting numbers and there's a lot to it.
So would it be an illegal move to throw them like one in each hand? Like
I think
like
they both have to be in one hand. You can only use one hand.
You're more of like a nonchalant tosser. Like you're just like,
I do the finger roll or maybe like, a little corkscrew action.
See, now when you start getting all that into it, they'll think that you're using sleight of hand and stuff and you got other dice up your sleeve and shit. You get into some trouble and you don't want that trouble.
What if I just like brought like a suit full of dice and just threw them all?
They would escort you out so fast. You'd be, yes.
How many people would be at my throat at that craps table if I threw like no less than half a dozen dice out? Like, people have all this money riding on it.
Well, not only that, but you got to think there's 3 dealers and a pit boss per table because there's so much going on the table. So you'd have all 4 of them and then everybody around. And there's some people that's got some big money riding on craps. And
okay, so scene if you do that.
What if we like how many craps tables are there? Do you think at that casino?
20.
What if we coordinated like at 8:30, everyone throw like a dozen dice at
Let's
every
not
table.
because I like going to the casino and I'm no.
That'd probably make like the news. Like, dice
it would. Yeah, yes, it would. And then you'd get your mug shot and you'd be all swelled up because people are just kicking you in the face.
Yeah.
I'd have to kick the shit out of you if you did that. I mean,
that's fair. That's fair.
Free entry.
No.
All right. So,
the blackjack tables. That's where
we got to play stud next time we go down. I'll show you Mississippi stud. You'll like Mississippi stud.
Hey, maybe next week before Mania.
All right. Let me know.
Mm-hmm. Mania? Don't you mean Rumble?
Yeah,
Rumble.
I know what you meant.
Yeah, you know what I'm. Yeah.
Anyway, do we want to get into the actual sports topics now? Or
do we have to? Yeah.
I mean, let's get a little football in, you know. But I think the NFC is still not sure what the conference playoff final is going to be, but the AFC is going to be Chiefs and Bengals again. Wasn't that what it was last year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Easiest money of the day was the Bengals spread. 100%.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely.
I took them out. I took them on the money line too.
So is Josh Allen a fraud? Can't win the big game?
No.
I mean, can't win the big game? Is he Phillip Rivers yet?
You look at Buffalo's offense, and he has Stephon Diggs and a lot of underachievers. Like their rush game is basically non-existent.
Yeah.
It's Singletary, and he's not even. He's a backup on most teams.
Yeah, wasn't Cooks was starting, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So
James Cook, the rookie, yeah. But like you look at that, their offensive line underperformed. They couldn't, like Stephon Diggs is the only receiver you can trust. Gabe Davis, he's had his big games. He's not consistent. You have a bunch of it's not on Josh Allen. Buffalo, Brian Dable, he's the head coach of the Giants now. I think that put their offense back a little bit. Ken Dorsey, unless they're, he just running 4 verticals on Madden. That's basically what it looked like the offense was. I mean, I didn't see Buffalo winning that game at all. That's why, the Cincinnati money line, I thought, or spread. I got them, I think, at 5.5 right before kickoff. I hammered that because Cincinnati has a ton of weapons on offense, number one, where Buffalo's been banged up this year. Tremaine Edmonds got exposed today. He was someone I wanted the Steelers to look at as a free agent to bring in to be inside linebacker. He looked like Devin Bush 2.0. He was getting bullied. He was getting pancaked. But Cincinnati's defense was unreal. Their secondary, kept them in check. And
that's what I was going to say too.
That was just an AFC North game right there. A little, snow. That's big boy football. And Cincinnati took it to the Bills, and they got some issues because they're gonna have to, Josh Allen's in line for a big deal if I'm not mistaken. Who do you, they didn't capitalize while he was on his rookie contract, I guess.
Yeah.
Say. So,
and also to connect that to the Steelers, Mike Hilton, man, miss him. The Steelers could surely use him. Didn't want to pay him, right?
Nope.
They didn't want to pay him.
Yeah.
Same thing's going to happen with Sutton this year, right? Is it Sutton?
They're going to have to re-sign him.
You're going to have to, but he's unrestricted, right? So unless they pony up with a deal that he can go get somewhere else, he can walk. And I
Listen,
agree, they need to resign him.
The two biggest players that the Steelers let walk in free agency, which absolutely killed them the past few years. Number one was definitely Mike Hilton. He was a run stopper. He made the plays. He was the definition of Steeler football. He was just a great dude that just plays hard. I think he led the team in tackles and quarterback hits today. As a basically slot corner, coming off the edge, he was an excellent blitzer. But people that they don't talk a lot about it. They'll bring up occasionally Javon Hargrave.
Yeah,
I mean, he was great as a Steeler. I understand that they couldn't really give him the money at the time, which, okay. But, once that happened and then, everything was Stephon Tuitt, man, you lose two guys like that off the defensive line. And then you got Cam Hayward and a bunch of rotational guys. And, hey, both of them are in their respective conference championship games.
Yep.
Yeah, I just noticed Mike Hilton. I thought that was, the biggest loss the Steelers probably could have had in the past couple years. But, I mean, good for him. Good for former Pittsburgh Pirate Hayden Hurst, too. So, yeah. And Pittsburgh product Tyler Boyd. But other than that, at this point, I hope who do I want to win? I don't care about the Chiefs. I don't care about the Bengals. Let's see. Cowboys.
You're going to have to call the 49ers.
Eagles, thing. No. Yeah, Niners. I don't like any of those teams.
That's the only team left, but they're down 3 right now, late in the second. They have the ball right now. Second 19.
Yeah, I ain't rooting for Philly. I'll tell you that.
That's the thing. I don't want Philly to win. I don't like the Cowgirls, even though I picked them in a parlay to win today. I don't care about the Chiefs, but the Chiefs are okay in my book now because you don't hear about Jackson Mahomes and Mahomes' wife. You saw her yesterday. It was the first time I saw her, but she's up in the press box, But that Bills team, I think it came down to a lot of their defense was not healthy. They're missing Von Miller. That was huge. Their secondary was in shambles as well. It's tough. And you're going against a Bengals team that has that many weapons. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow and himself. That's a scary team to try to match up against late in the year, and you're not at 100% on your defensive side of the ball.
Listen, sorry, go around. You can go.
I think Joe Burrow has that it factor too. He's just a winner. Like that guy's a winner. He knows how to win games. He's just like so confident, but he has the skill too. Like it's not just as a quarterback the skill. It's you gotta have the confidence and that it factor. I think we're gonna see him, Mahomes and Allen in the conference championship for probably the next 8, 9, 10 years.
Watch out for Trevor Lawrence. He played. He played a hell of a game yesterday, and I understand if they don't fumble that ball at the 3, that's a completely different game. And then I know he throws that pick late, but still, I know Mahomes was hurt there for like the second quarter, but that Jaguars team's sneaky. Yeah. So you get a couple more pieces around him.
Next week, though.
What's that?
Does Mahomes play next week?
You have to. You have to.
Do you think he's 100% though?
It doesn't matter. What's that lineman?
I think it does. He won't play well, I bet.
That Eagles lineman has a blown out groin and he's playing. So
the thing is, you could finish a game on how much adrenaline and whatever they shot him up with in his ankle.
Yeah,
but
they give him cortisone.
After a game, your leg stiffens up a little bit, starts to swell. Depending on how bad it is, in a week you might not be 100%.
He's gonna be out there regardless.
He'll be out there, but not 100%.
I would take a 80% Mahomes over a lot of the quarterbacks in the league right now. So
I think 80 is a stretch for Hunt. I think he's going to be a 60, 50, 60.
I'd take a 60 Mahomes over a lot of the quarterbacks in the league right now. Honestly, the things he can do.
And, going back to the Jags too, like you said, they're on the upswing. Mm-hmm. People forget, who they're getting back probably next year.
Devin Bush.
Well, no.
No.
Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
they traded.
Suspended.
Yeah. Keep them off the table, but
all their risky moves panned out, like Christian Kirk and all that. Yeah, they made some risky moves, and good for them. I mean, I don't mind Jacksonville at all. I think their uniforms are cool. I don't have anything against them.
Here's the thing with Jacksonville is they traded away. They were in the AFC title game a few years ago. Traded away all them. Were they in the title game? I know they beat the Steelers.
No, that was Bortles. That was when it was like Bortles, Foles, Kirk Cousins,
Fournette.
and Tom Brady,
Okay,
right? Those
yeah.
are the 4 quarterbacks.
That was the game where Miles Jack had that strip sack, and they said he was down, but he wasn't, and he would return that for a touchdown. If you remember that, Miles Jack wasn't down
Yeah.
against the Patriots. That's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
Patriots.
But they traded away Fournette, Jalen Ramsey, all them guys. They got a lot of picks back, and they've drafted well, did well in free agency. They showed how to do a rebuild in 5 years, and I mean it's nice to see that a team has it right. So you hope that, I know the Steelers weren't that far down, but hopefully they can rebuild into something like that.
That's the thing. The Steelers are too proud of an organization, I feel, to slip that far.
Yeah, they never
probably
will. Yeah.
they had a first overall pick of a generational quarterback. Who knows if he pans out? I mean, they said he was a generational talent, and they got Trevor Lawrence. They got their guy. So I don't know if how many other high round picks do they have?
The Jags?
I don't know. Yeah, in that span. I can't remember.
Here, I'll look it up for you.
It was definitely
I mean,
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence. I mean, they
had to have had some high picks. They were bad last year, right? They weren't that good.
They didn't. I mean, they didn't really hit on their high picks. I'm drawing a blank on the corner they drafted that they ended up trading to the Panthers, and he never panned out. They used a pretty high pick on him.
But still, when you have that many high picks, you're gonna hit. The Steelers are never gonna have I hope they don't. But years with years and years in a row with a top 5 pick. I just don't think that's gonna happen.
There's really only one team that whiffs on basically all of their first round picks, and that's the Vegas Raiders. They are a horrible drafting team.
Yeah.
Horrible.
It's because they're stupid.
I mean, when your owner has a bowl cut, what do you expect?
That's not even you can't even say it's a bowl cut. That's like, I don't even know how to say it. It's like a pyramid on top of a rounded, I don't know, amoeba. That guy's haircut's whack.
Yeah.
Dan, I know you're researching. You seen anything?
No, it's only giving me like first rounders.
Go through the first rounders real quick.
Yeah.
Well, this is from 2011. 2019, they took Garner Minshew at
Not in
number
the
9.
The first round.
And
Yeah.
number 9, that's what it says.
No,
No chance.
He was not.
There's no way Gardner Minshew was a 9. Maybe round 9.
See, no, this isn't right. This isn't right.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I mean, they got their playmakers. They got Trayvon Walker. They had him number 1 this year. He played
Exactly. You got 1 overall picks in 3 years. Yeah.
I mean,
what do you want it from?
From like 2017 till now.
2017
They had
was
2 picks in the first round this year. They had Trayvon Walker and Devin Lloyd.
Yeah.
Last year, Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
CJ Henderson.
That's who they traded
and
with.
Clavon Cassian.
Those were both in the first round.
Yeah, that
and
was
then Josh Allen. He's still playing. Yep. I know he's still playing.
Great.
Taven Bryan, DJ Chark. Chark doesn't play at all, right?
He's on the Lions now.
Leonard Fournette, which they still had him. I feel like,
Yeah, we got Travis Etienne. And
Jalen Ramsey. Imagine if they still had these guys. Jalen Ramsey.
What did they get back for those? So,
I know,
what I mean?
Right?
I think they got pretty high. I'm sure they might have got at least one of those 2020 picks for possibly.
Tyson Alualu in 2010.
Yeah, because
I'm just scrolling.
Didn't
This is just a random deep dive we're doing right now too.
That's Byron Leftwich in 2003.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
Put some respect on Byron Leftwich.
Fred Taylor. I'm in the 90s now.
Yeah, let's just stop. But no, the last 2 drafts, they've hit the CJ Henderson and Chase on draft. That was 2 whiffs on a first round pick. Henderson's 9 with them. Chase on hasn't done anything. So, but 4 first round picks the past 2 years, you've done pretty well.
Yeah.
Lawrence and Etienne, those are building blocks. Lawrence is the franchise guy on offense, and then defense. They have Devin Lloyd, Trayvon Walker. Those are 2 first round pedigree guys that are playing immediately. So Jacksonville's going to be on the upswing. I'm intrigued to see. I think they're the clear cut team. The AFC South's weak to begin with. Tennessee is not really a threat.
Fraud.
The Colts are in shambles, and the Texans are the Texans.
Yeah.
So they have a pretty easy conference.
It's almost like that New England conference for all them years when they dominated it.
The
Miami
Bills, Dolphins, and Jets.
all ass teams. So yeah, right there, you mark it down. That's 6 wins on your record. You're gonna win your division every year, minus that year that Tom blew out his knee early. But that's what it kind of reminds me of. That you got one dominant team, and Jacksonville looks like that dominant team. So they're gonna win their conference every single year. And I don't see Tennessee putting up a fight. I think they're frauds. The Texans, like you said, are the Texans, and the Colts. Yeah, come on now, they can't even find a quarterback.
Bold prediction: I think they trade up for the first overall pick this year.
The Titans?
I could see it. I could see it.
You know what the Colts are doing? I could already see it. You know who they're writing letters to? Derek Carr. Every old quarterback goes there to die. Philip Rivers, Matt Ryan, next in line. They're passing it down to Derek Carr.
When you have the third overall pick and Chicago, they can trade down because I don't think they're taking a quarterback. That'd be it. If they don't think Fields is the answer. But they're trading up, would it be from 3 to 1? So even if you're Chicago, you still have, Jalen Carter and Will Anderson are the 2 best players defensively, I think, in the draft. If you get your pick of one of those guys after you trade down at 3, I think you're fine with that, no matter who goes at 2, because you can't go wrong. I mean, Carter's an absolute force on the defensive line. Will Anderson is the premier edge out of this class, out of Alabama. So, you can't go wrong. Like, all right, you have your first overall pick. You have the choice of them, but make your life a little bit easier. Trade down 2 spots, get more draft capital that you can help Justin Fields with, and then whichever one's there, you take, and if they're both there, that's even better because then you still have your choice.
Yeah, I think their line's fine. They don't have any issues. I mean, Justin Fields is running for his life, but he's a good runner, so the line's doing something right.
I see that actually playing out. I don't think that's a bold prediction. I think that's a smart prediction. And I even thought that Chicago would trade down, trade back, and accumulate more draft picks. Why not? Or maybe a couple players in a draft pick, swap picks. We'll see how it all shakes out. It all depends on who calls them with the most enticing package. Because if we know that they want to roll with Justin Fields, so does the other 31 NFL teams. So who can put together the best package and move up to number 1, and that's what they'll go with. So,
I mean, there's a lot of teams, I think, that we talked about this, that want to, if there's multiple teams trying to trade up for that first overall pick, I think definitely the Colts, will be number 1, or the Colts will be number 1 to trade up. I've said this the last 2 episodes. I have been deep diving into mock drafts. That pumpkin pie year eating around weirdo Mel Kiper, I'm going to beat him this year. There's no doubt. Todd. That's literally all I have to. That's how I hear at night now. But it's gotten to the point where last night I'm DDing. We're down the North Shore. I'm in a corner at Tequila Cowboy, and Nicole looks at me and she's like, "Are you doing mock drafts on your phone?" I'm like, "You're damn right I am. I am going through so many scenarios, and the one that I have, we're getting in Steelers now a little bit. I think they trade back from 17, depending on where the board is. I could see there's a lot of reasons why, they could drop, I think, 6 picks to around 23, whether it's Minnesota trading up, but it would make more sense where they could drop, 6 spots in the first round, get more draft capital, and they'll still have their choice of, guys there where, you don't want to reach for like a Joey Porter Jr., one of those corners. If you trade down and they're still there, that's great. You're getting more draft capital. I think this is the year where everyone's excited for the Steelers to have, okay, they have a higher pick. There's a lot of intrigue, but if, the top 2 tackles are off the board and you don't want to reach for one of those corners and you have the opportunity to trade down, get a couple more picks, why not? I think
we already have 2 first-round picks, essentially.
Yeah. So
the Bears are probably going to look to trade into the second round, honestly. They lost their second-round pick.
But they got that stud Chase Claypool, so, I mean, it was worth it, right?
Yeah, he is. I think he has, 3 catches for 30 yards. Yeah, so he's worth the second-round pick.
He's cheeks. I'll say it.
Yeah.
Mapletron? You mean he's compared to Calvin Johnson?
But
Yeah.
I think it's going to be exciting. I know we're foreshadowing a lot here. We still got to get through the end of the NFL season and into the combine and all that. But it is exciting to just throw hypothetical scenarios out there to get your brain racked a little bit. Just not just with the Steelers, but what do other teams above the Steelers do that it'll shake out when it's the Steelers' time to pick? And does that persuade them to maybe move down? And I don't think it's ever too early to think about the future.
So I want you to remember this name. I've been looking at the free agent class, the draft class, everything. Trenton Simpson, linebacker from Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at the board. I think it's him and Drew Sanders from Arkansas are like the top two linebackers in the draft. They're projected late first round, maybe early second. I've been reading comps on him. He's like a Micah Parsons light at inside linebacker. He's like that mold of athletic, can line up in different places. I think if they can trade down from 17 and snag him somewhere in the late first round, obviously this can change a million times and it will. But if you can get that kind of guy, because Tremaine Edmonds is probably the premier linebacker in this year's free agent class, and the way he's looked, and I was looking at Bills fans, what they're talking, Devin Bush, he looked like that today. That's not a guy you're going to go out there and throw money at where you can, I'd rather take the first round pick and you have the 32nd pick too, where you can get a corner. So, I think you definitely look if those two tackles are off the board, you trade back, you get an athletic linebacker because inside linebacker, I think is going to be a bigger position of need than people realize. You can get those tackles, mid, second round, third round. It's still going to be, you have the Dan Moores, but other teams draft that well. I think it's a deeper cornerback class where I think you need to go linebacker early, just how it's looking. I just think you have to.
I keep seeing that shit on the Twitter, and I got to stay off Twitter because it's pissing me off. Jordan Addison, 17th overall pick, and if that happens, I'm telling you right now, if that happens, I am putting in my resignation as a Steeler fan because they have failed us. So,
you know who's the leader of the charge there? Filifoni. That's who it is. Yeah, I'm sick of seeing Jordan Addison, Kenny Pickett. I'm sorry. It ain't gonna happen. It shouldn't happen.
I'll tell you right now, I'm pumped that Kenny played as well as he did. I knew he had potential, and like we've talked about, he was the most NFL ready quarterback in the draft. Yada yada, whatever. You spend a first round pick on him. I think he did well, and he progressed well, and he grew well, and he's only going to grow even better. And a lot of people wanted to compare him, like we were talking, all these different people, but you hear a lot about like Joe Burrow. They remind him of Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's getting the Bengals to back-to-back AFC championship games, okay? I'm okay with that if Kenny Pickett shakes out something like that, but we do not need his security blanket, if that's what you want to call it. Kind of like NHL players get other players or teammates from their home country as a safety blanket or security blanket so they feel more at home. We don't need that. And then Jordan Addison even played a whole year at USC. They haven't played together. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. Just stop it. It's nonsense.
And that's like the difference between, like, say, I'm going to use the Eagles as an example. I think they have 2 first-round picks this year. One's pretty high, around 10th overall, somewhere around there. And then they have a late first-round pick. The Eagles have the choice of that leeway on the luxury because, there's not too many holes that they need to fill. Mm-hmm. Like, late in the first round, a lot of people are projecting Robinson, the running back from Texas, to go there. That's a luxury pick for them. Miles Sanders goes. You can do that if you're the Eagles, but if you're the Steelers, you have glaring needs. That wide receiver in the first round would just be asinine.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, do you think that Jordan Addison is better than Deontay Johnson or even George Pickens?
No.
Like, Joe Burrow getting a receiver was so important. Like, Jamar Chase he's phenomenal. I don't think Jordan Addison's on that level. And if Kenny Pickett isn't like showing greatness with Deontay Johnson and Pickens, which he's showing well with Pickens, but Deontay Johnson and Pickens are already 2 like great tools, and so is Freiermuth. So like you have three tools to play with there. So I don't think they need a 4th just to mix in there. But
I mean, you're getting Calvin Austin back. People are talking about that. If you want to use like a 4th or 5th round pick on a receiver that you like and that's going to be there, all right, I'll accept that. I'm not gonna get pissed off about that. But if you have a first round pick where you can address some glaring needs, like I don't know, getting your franchise quarterback a left tackle, maybe do that over getting a wide receiver that'll be, third wide receiver, second at best, because Pickens is gonna be number one next year. That's just dumb if you do.
And if I see it on Twitter, is he actually like advocating for it still, or is this last year?
You mean like Jordan Addison
is Kenny
stuff?
Pickett still is Kenny Pickett still saying?
I don't know, and I'll tell you right now, it doesn't matter what that kid says.
That says he is. Don't know if I believe it.
That's fine. You could say that, but you have no pull. Like if you were,
he doesn't have any.
If he had his tenure in, and I know you don't need 10 years in to have tenure, but if you were in the league 5-6 years, sure, I'm sure they'd come ask you, hey, would you like a weapon? He has no pull, and I don't think he has the right to have any pull. And like you said, get your franchise quarterback a left tackle. Why don't you get the highest paid defense, a middle linebacker that actually wants to come up and plug a hole and then maybe be able to cover a back out of the backfield or a tight end cutting across the middle? Why don't we do that?
I think, honestly, if whoever's drafting thinks it like this way, if they're drafting another receiver and add to that problem, if I'm George Pickens, I'm pissed. If I'm Deontay, I'm even more pissed. That just adds to the problem that we've had in the past with the receiver room. I don't think, even from a mental standpoint of the team, that it's a good idea. Yeah. It should just be avoided altogether.
They had Chase Claypool announce the George Pickens pick last year. That's just cold when you do that.
Too many Chiefs, not enough Indians.
No, your first 3 picks, you go tackle, linebacker, corner. If you like a defensive lineman, that's an interior guy that can stop the run, you do that. Those are the you have 3 picks there where you can address your glaring needs. If you can trade down in the first and accumulate some more picks, you're even better off. But any fan even a fan can see that you have 3 positions you need to hit on with your first 3 picks, maybe 4 if you want to include the defensive line. That is what you do. You don't take a wide receiver, tight end, a running back, a safety even. You know what you got to do.
This is one of them drafts. It's going to be a boring draft to the, casual fan. Maybe not to us, but you're not going to get the sexy pick. You're not going to get the Rolls Royce. You're not going to get the receiver, the running back, the quarterback. We've had enough of those in the top 2 rounds in the past 3 years, okay? Yeah. We need the hogs. We need the ugly picks. It's the boring picks. You need first-round linemen on the offensive side of the ball. You need, a high pedigree, high echelon linebacker. You need a defensive lineman, even a cornerback. I agree with you 100% there. This is going to be one of them boring. Well, I don't know who that guy is. How many touchdowns he had? It doesn't matter. Those guys made a career in college being tops of the NCAA at their position. That's what you need, and it's not the sexy pick, and I understand that. But you're going to have drafts like this. I remember when they picked the Castro, I was like, they picked a lineman. This is when I was a lot younger. But that was the last one they took in the first 2 rounds was David DeCastro. That was 11 years ago, 12 years ago. You're not going to always get the sexy pick.
If you have a brain, you're not going to like this draft. No. I'll tell you right now, because it's shaping up, and like you said, like you made a good point, Dan. It's not going to be a sexy draft. You're not going to have these playmakers, but you know who else doesn't? The Patriots. Every year, everyone looks at their draft like, who the hell are these guys? Like, I was even laughing when they took Cole Strange, from Chattanooga in the first round. I'm like, what are they doing? Like, nobody had him going up that high. He had a good rookie year.
Yep.
That's a first-round pick.
Yep.
You get the guys where it doesn't matter if you know the name. If they can play, like the Patriots. They do that every year. They hit most of them. They do a great job drafting, usually. Especially when Brady was in, whenever they were winning Super Bowls. It's homegrown talent where you draft them and develop them. That's how you win championships. Yep. Unless you're the Rams and you trade every one of your picks for a Super Bowl. That's basically the exception to the rule.
Now look at them. Look, they're in shambles now. Yeah, Sean McVay wants to leave. So you can have it. You can have it either way. You could buy your championship, or you could build your championship, and you could have multiple championships when you build it, or you buy it 1 year and then you're in the basement for years to come because you've just set your organization back just to win now. And that's what happens. It happens with every sport where there's a salary cap. It happens. Why do you think? But look at baseball. I know we're comparing two sports here, but baseball is a little different because there is no salary cap, but the Yankees still can't win one. Riddle me that one.
Yeah, that's true.
They've tried for years to buy one.
It's all about evaluating talent.
Yeah.
And if you can't evaluate talent in any league and you whiff on draft picks, no matter what you do, especially in a salary cap league, that's going to set your franchise back a ton of years.
Oh, yeah.
Look at Edmonton. They had how many first overall picks?
Oh, my God.
Aside from Connor McDavid, they couldn't draft shit.
Taylor Hall, Nugent Hopkins, Yakupov. Yeah, and I mean,
Miroslav Satan.
Off the top of my brain, I think 5 or 6 in a row they had first overall picks and whiffed. I mean, Taylor Hall ain't there no more.
They trade him for what? Adam Larson straight up?
I think so.
To the Devils, yeah. I mean, they had multiple first overall picks. If they weren't first overall, they had a string where they were like consistently top 5 at least. And you can't draft. You're gonna set your franchise back.
Here's the other thing. Here's the other thing with that team right now is they're in trouble because they can't have they don't have goaltending. And McDavid ain't taking a friendly deal now. He wants his. If you want him to stay, he's going to make his. That's why. Exactly. Yeah. So that's why we have been blessed with Sid taking a friendly deal and a lot of guys. Why do you think the Patriots were so good for so long? Because Tom was taking a friendly deal for that organization because they were winning. And it's not always about me making mine. It's about us making ours and winning championships and building championships and being competitive for years. L.A., they win one. They won last year. Whoop-de-doo. What are they this year? What they win, 4 games? 5 games?
A little more. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
on there.
That was the worst turnaround by a defending champion in NFL history. What
happens when you rent a team? OBJ, who else? Von Miller out. You rent those guys, and then they're gone. And you have gaping holes in your whole entire team.
I understand Stafford was hurt, but
you look at the division though. I think that was one of the biggest surprises this year, where the Rams were bad. Seattle was good. Made the playoffs.
They knocked it out of the park in the draft too.
Yeah, Seattle.
They went 5-12.
5-12.
Yeah,
but the Cardinals, I think, were the biggest disappointment. I mean, Cliff Kingsbury, he took a one-way trip to Thailand. He's off. He's off the scene.
See ya. He took his.
He made a decent offseason too. Marquise Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, that's a pretty big.
That's because Kyle was playing Call of Duty. He was trying to grind camos with Dan all year.
There's the other thing. If they want to put that in, they want to put that as a clause in your contract. You have a problem, and he got all butthurt that they made it public. Oh well, study some film. You're a professional athlete, that's your thing. And then he wants to say he should have went and played baseball. Okay, you wouldn't be making this money. You'd be irrelevant for another 4 years. So that's why you did it, because you could make more money now as a first-round pick going to play quarterback. But that's your I play Call of Duty as a hobby, but I still go to my full-time job. It would be like me be like, you know what? I don't feel like it.
Yeah, instead of the play, Tyler's on Twitter looking at Charlie Intel's feed all day trying to see what the next update's gonna have and everything. That's just crazy. If a team's putting that clause in your contract, you have to know you have a problem.
Yes.
You have to believe that there's some NFL problems, but it's never been in a clause like that. You'll see James Harden getting a strip club clause in his contract.
You're right. No, there's a lot of things you have to be, a certain weight. You have to maintain a certain weight. You see that a lot.
Yeah.
I know Casey Hampton, it would happen to him all the time. It just happened to Zion. They told him he has to stay with under 295 or something like that, or he
I think that's just because he's going to play out of his body.
That's the thing. They want him to stay healthy and stay out there. So you have some weird clauses, but ones that are you can't play Call of Duty and you got to watch X amount of film on your off days.
Things that aren't health wise and just general behavior wise. That's kind of concerning.
Like any sport 101, watching films, the bare minimum of what you can do.
Yeah.
And that's do you remember Jamarcus Russell? The first, remember LSU Raiders took him first overall. Mm-hmm. He never watched film at all.
No.
And they actually, this is a true story. they sent him home with these, I think it's DVDs that said, "Hey, this is certain team. I forget which team it is. This is their blitz packages.
Yeah.
Look at it. Let me know." He comes in. They're like, "What'd you think?" He's like, "Oh yeah." He's like acting like the tapes were blank. Like he never even watched them, and he got exposed by his own team.
Yeah.
So I guarantee you, you put that clause in a contract, something's amiss, in the organization, and no matter who leaked that. I mean, I don't know why the Cardinals got such backlash. Like, you can't do that to your franchise quarterback. It's embarrassing. Well, you know what? You're a professional sports organization. You're making millions. You need to be held accountable to a standard.
So
simple as that.
Yeah, that's the thing. No. Here's the thing. If you want to give them, there's no reason to give them backlash because that dude is 23 years old. He's still a kid, right? So
like 24, 25.
Okay, regardless, he's still a kid.
Yeah.
If you can't own up to your responsibilities and do what is asked of you by we'll call them a business, by the Arizona Cardinals as a business, and you can't do what they want you to and make their business better by doing your job, then damn right they should put that clause in there, and they shouldn't have got any guff, and they were getting so much guff for it. Oh, you can't do that. He's still a kid. No. Grow some nuts and take responsibility.
He's 25.
Okay.
So
25.
that's like me hanging out, just like playing Call of Duty all day, like not doing much. That's like, yeah. I wouldn't think to do that. I'd get bored of that. Yeah.
He mustn't got Orion yet. I do.
There's only so many times I can walk onto shipment and, just, yeah. I don't know what he's doing. Kyler, get it together. No twigs, no berries.
Oh, early today, huh? Early one.
It's not early. We're about 40 minutes in.
51.
And also, this is funny. Brett Mayer, 1 of 7 in his last extra points. He missed another one, but it was blocked. He ain't coming back next year.
No.
Brett Mayer, we'll see you later, buddy.
Him and Sam Darnold seeing ghosts. I mean, I'm gonna put a label on it. Brett Maher, he's spooked. He's
for extra points too.
He's out there. He's done. Kicker mentality. That's what's it? Who is Ace Ventura? Finkel, Ray Finkel. He's the next Ray Finkel. That's I'm coining it.
Anything else on the Steelers before we move on? Final words. I'm excited for this draft. Like Dan said, it's not pretty, but I think this is a draft, the first draft that we're not picking anything pretty, and I kind of realized that. When I was younger, I didn't understand that. And I remember in 2007, I think, or 2006, I was advocating for the Steelers to draft Marcus Vick, and he ended up not even getting drafted by anybody. So that's what I knew at the time. So I'm learning. But anyway, Pens talk. How about it? Another loss today.
They played today. I totally forgot.
Overtime loss. I watched the first period before the football game came on at 3. But the only draw I can take from this is Sidney Crosby is still playing at an elite level. He is the only guy out there that's given 100%. He does not look any different from what I saw.
Disagree.
I mean,
Jason Zucker.
Yeah. But people are quick to turn on Crosby. I feel like people are quick to turn on him and say he's not the same guy. I feel like he's still the same guy playing at that elite level. He's gone for one-handed goals still. Absolute one-timer from between the circles today is pretty awesome. But I just think that the quality of play is inconsistent from the entire Penguins. They're very undisciplined too. Especially from that game on, was it Friday night? They took several penalties in the first period. They're just so undisciplined.
There was 14 penalties called in that game. Over half the game was played on special teams. So that's when Ottawa's bread and butter is their power play. You don't let them get on the power play to begin with.
A lot of those calls, I mean, Mike, you could see Sullivan was giving big.
Yes.
Today they're on the power play and they take a penalty in the first 5 seconds of it. Come on. I just think they're undisciplined, and I don't know. I just think the quality of play just drops from that first second line.
And do you see the linesman save Drew O'Connor in the first period? I don't know if you guys saw that. He was getting ready. He dropped the mitts with Brendan Smith, who's heavyweight boy. Yeah,
Brendan Smith's a clown for that. He drops the gloves after they're separated. Drew O'Connor is probably 5'7", 100.
We don't think Brendan Smith wanted to fight.
He's huge.
we would have smacked the shit out of him. The linesman.
Yeah, I know, but still, if you want, I'd let it go. Like, let's see what happens here. Any man with two hands.
No, there's
Drew O'Connor had family there. He's a Jersey boy.
Yeah, you don't do that. You don't beat the shit out of some dude with his family in the stands. You
I mean,
like
yeah,
the
you do.
O'Connor, but you got to realize, like, yeah, okay, maybe mix it up a little. Don't drop the mitts. Just make a good business decision. You're not Max Talbot.
I'm letting him do it.
You're not.
He's playing hard in Jersey. It was in Jersey. He's at home. He ain't losing.
So what?
We'll never know, though.
His family want to see him stretchered off the ice? Like, that's not something you want to see.
He wouldn't have let his family see him stretchered. He would have put up a big,
I don't think he would have had a choice.
Yeah, they should have let him go.
That's just that would have been irresponsible.
Drawbacks, I think that the Penguins aren't a playoff team anymore. I think they're done. Too many injuries.
I think after this year, Hextall's gone too.
Yeah.
Fenway Sports Management's going to put, someone that's more aggressive. They want to spend the money. They want to put the premier product on the ice. Hextall and Burke are just too vanilla. I mean, they don't make any moves. And, the definition of insanity is doing something over and over again, expecting a different result. I mean, you got to shake it up. Rutherford, he shook it up, probably too much at times, but whatever. At least he made the moves. Hextall doesn't. Makes horrible. Carter and Kapanen, we say this every week. You got to do something. You got to shake something up. It's stagnant. Ron Hextall, let's get the ball rolling a little bit, huh? Let's try and maneuver.
It's just the bottom six. They just need to be deeper. They just need to be a lot deeper than they are. That's all that I see. I know I'm not
they're handcuffed.
Yeah,
they're handcuffed.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm not a hockey X's and O's guys. I don't know how much money anybody makes in any league, but from what I see, is there 6 guys that aren't playing as hard as the other 6.
See, but that's the thing. You're not going to have you have a momentum line, and you have a possession line, a puck possession line, and like it would have been Wednesday night, the 18th. I had to listen to it, and Phil Bourque even said Mike Sullivan doesn't know who to put out there after we score a goal because he put the Carter line out there, and they took a penalty. So then that gives all the momentum right back to the Sens because you're up, and then now they're going on the power play. They end up scoring. Mm-hmm. It gives all the momentum back to them. So it's tough, and you don't want to put the top line out there all the time. They just scored. You can't keep them out there. They got 6 total, or they got 6 points over the last 4 games. I'm not saying they're dead. They're a stagnant team, and when like the Ottawa Senators' bread and butter is their potent power play. Their power play is like 4th in the league. Our PK was 2nd in the league when we played them on Wednesday, and you let them on the power play, I think it was 8 times, and they score 4 times. That's bad. First off, don't take penalties. I understand that sometimes the game is taken out of your hands by a ref, and that's any game. But when I looked at it, I was kind of disgusted that the only reason Ottawa was in that game is because of all the penalties taken, and they were capitalizing on those opportunities. You score 4 times. We ended up taking it to overtime, so we still got the loser point out of it. But right off the bat, Kachuk comes down and just rips one. It's tough.
Their 3-on-3 horrible too.
It's bad.
Their 3-on-3 is pathetic.
So bad. And
I think they've lost are they 1 for 7 on overtimes? I saw some stat. It was either 1 for 8 or 1 for 7. They've lost a ton of overtime games. If it's overtime, they're not winning. That's just as I think I've watched one.
They have 8 overtime losses. I see that.
Yeah.
I don't
know. Might have been
many,
one win.
Yeah, I don't know how many wins they have, but just in their last 10, they're 4-4-2.
Yeah.
But I think when's the break? When's the break? This week or next week?
It's coming
next week. That might be good for them. I don't know. But I don't know. They just need to have a strong February, March. They usually do, I think, right? Usually strong.
Yeah. So, but when you're missing the top half of your defensive pairings, you're in trouble. Letang was out, Petrie was out, and who else was
Petrie's back.
Yeah, he just came back the other night. Yeah. So you're going to be hurting there, and It's just tough. It's tough to see because we know that they're stagnant. We know that nothing's going to happen. We know that
They're not gonna trade.
regardless if they get the first goal of the game or not, they could still lose because they don't know who to put out there to hold the momentum. They just give the momentum right back to their opponent. So.
Oh, if it's the first 4 goals, they give up 4 pretty easy.
Yeah. I mean, a 4-goal
That's bad.
lead should be the most secure thing in hockey, and it's not to this team. That. It kind of reminds me of that year they played the Flyers in the playoffs, and we would rip off 3-4 goals, and then next thing you know, we're losing. And Jari being out there since the Winter Classic, he just come back. He looked really good the other night.
Still good. He stopped like 46
Yeah.
or 45, 46 shots.
I think if he can stay healthy, they have a puncher's chance.
Yeah.
I don't think he gets enough credit. I feel like he's very slept on as a goaltender, but I do feel like some of it is warranted with how much he's hurt, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, he just can't stay healthy. I
And
think that's it.
you look at the bottom 6 too, where Paling just came back and Josh Archibald's been out with an injury. I mean, those are 2 bottom 6 guys where they don't get a lot of hype. Obviously, they're not goal scorers, but they play hard. Archibald was having a great year. I mean, for his standards, he's mixing it up. He's throwing hits around. He's probably the smallest guy on the ice. He's mixing it up, doing what you should be doing on 4th line. You take those 2 guys out, and then it's a mixed match. Like, you have Heinen and Kapanen both playing bottom 6, sometimes even on the 4th line. That's your gritty, your grinder line. Those 2 guys are not even close to the definition of that. So that bottom 6 just doesn't have the abrasiveness and the punch, really, where when you have those guys in the lineup, where I'm not saying you need a bunch of fighters or anything to that standard, but just guys that are playing hard, finishing checks, wearing the other team down. You take those 2 guys out of the lineup with injuries, and you're hurting there even more than what you were at the time.
Yeah, and I know Ryan's a big numbies guy. Jari's 16-5-5. So it's not on him. That team is really, really, and I don't think it's on to Smith either. I think he's played solid games. It's just the breakdown
that much either.
The breakdown of the defense in front of him. It's tough when you see guys just like Borky always says, they get the tripod out, so their legs and are just leaning on their stick. They're not cleaning out the front of the net, and
it's all rebounds.
Yeah, they're letting them in the blue paint. You shouldn't. Somebody should be on their wall. He says it 3 to 4 times a night. They got the tripods out. Nobody's laying on their wallet. So we'll see.
And looking at this week, 3 games. Tuesday against the Panthers, which the Panthers only have 51 points. I'm kind of shocked by that. I haven't been looking at the standings. So that's kind of surprising because I feel like they would have been like a top tier team. Panthers, Caps, and Sharks. Sharks are abysmal.
Yeah.
Capitals, I feel like, aren't that good, but they have 56 points.
They're above us, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you can, and we have 3 games in hand on them. So if you could beat them, it's almost like a double win. Because then you win 2 points and they don't get any points, so you can leapfrog them easier, yada, yada. But, up to the All-Star break, they only play 2 teams that are in playoff contention right now. So
Yeah,
I'll say 2-1 this week. 2-1. That's my prediction.
I'm saying 3 now.
3-0.
Yeah, 3-0.
They always play the Caps tough. So if you think they're going to lose to the Caps, I just don't see it. I don't think the Caps are as good as they used to be as well. They're aging as well. I just think that the Pens always have the Caps number. I just don't see them losing to them, and they probably will, but it happens.
Yeah, no, 2-1. That's my prediction. All-Star break can't come soon enough.
Yeah. A little recharge.
That's all Pens talk. Pirates.
No.
Anything on the Pirates other than David Bednar getting married?
No.
And McCutcheon saying he's going to win in Pittsburgh? Yeah. Not much. Well, we're going to have to talk about him a decent bit in the summer.
Yeah.
So.
Did you see that he said that he this isn't a one and done, but he only signed a 1-year contract? What's up with that?
He's going to win, and they're going to re-sign him.
Oh, okay.
Or he's going to play too well, and they're going to trade him away.
That's what'll happen.
That would be the biggest slap in the face of Pittsburgh history. Bob Nutting would be run out of town if he did that. I'm saying it happens. You have this old veteran that's absolutely smacking home runs, playing like a Gold Glove in the outfield, Trade deadline comes up. Bob Nutting. What's he doing?
No chance. He'll be a Pirate the whole year. He's not going to. He's not going to perform well enough where he's going to be a candidate at the trade deadline. I mean,
Does
you
he
look at.
retire after this year?
I don't know if he retires. I think he's just playing it year by year. That'd be my guess. Like, all right, he's back in Pittsburgh. If they have a decent year this year and they progress, like, hopefully they should, with the younger guys getting some more reps, maybe he comes back another year. He's the clubhouse leader now. He's the veteran there. That's what they didn't really have. I mean, they signed these old guys, Santana, Rich Hill, whatever, but McCutcheon's the Pittsburgh guy. He's the guy right now in the locker room, clubhouse, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. I think he's just playing it year by year. If they have a bad year, I think he's done. But if they have a good year and they make the right moves, which, I'll believe it when I see it, then I think he stays around. And, I think he wants to win something in Pittsburgh. He wants to cement his legacy. He's already cemented it, but, this is his, part of his curtain call.
I'm excited. I think they have like a good line. They have not a good lineup, but an exciting lineup to watch. I feel like it's going to be a decent year. Not a good year, but it'll be a decent year to watch just because like anything can happen at any game. Like O'Neal Cruz is just enough to watch on his own. But that's all I'm going to say about it. We're going to talk about him in the summer, but let's try to avoid it until then, I guess. Because I know Dan doesn't want to talk about him. Look at him. He's checked out.
I don't want to talk about either anymore, I'll be honest.
I know we'll have to, and that's fine, and I understand. It's just
I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised.
That's fine. The thing about baseball is it's a long, boring sport. It's lost so many eyes. It's not appealing to the younger population. I'm not even saying I'm in the younger population. I played baseball growing up. I loved baseball. But whenever your team sucks for all them years, then they go on this winning streak and they make the wild card, and everybody wants to be, oh, yeah, the Buckeyes are winning. I'm tired of hearing about it. It was how long ago? What have they done for me in the past 5 years? Nothing. I'm just – it's not that I'm checked out about it. I'm just tired of hearing it. It's always – oh, next year. I heard that for 21 years.
Yeah. I know. I realize that, but here's the thing. Of all sports in today's day and age, it's an easy watch whenever you're doing other. That's why I like it. When I'm doing other things, like when I'm on my computer or on the Xbox or something, have the game to the left, and just one ear here, and then if something happens, like you can turn real quick. It's not like it's basketball where I hate to say it, but people that use like several screens, you're not watching like 7 games at a time. I'm sorry, it ain't working. You can only watch one game at a time of basketball or football. Maybe baseball can be a couple, but with the time in between pitches, it's just a nice relaxing. Like you can have 2 screens there. That's the only appeal I have to it.
Here's the other thing about, like, let's say basketball. I mean, you could say this about any sport. Just watch the last minute, and you'll get the whole story. If it's a close one, I understand, and I'm not poo-pooing on anything because anything can be a blowout. But like with baseball, like you said, you can always just have it there as background noise and don't have to be fully invested. I get you.
But you can't watch like 3 basketball. I hate like March Madness setup.
Oh, but
like, I was guilty of a March Madness setup. Yeah. But there's no way you're watching like 3 games at a time. Like it's good novelty, but put the best game on. I like the ticker at the top.
Yeah, they'll have it and they'll flip it. Yeah.
You can change the channels, but we all know your ass isn't watching those 7. Okay, you're focused on one.
Like it's like at a sports book at the casino. Like you're only looking at one game. You're not.
Yeah, that's an overload.
NBA isn't good till playoffs. Like, I ain't watching NBA much this year. That's it.
If you do want to watch multiple games, you give the remote to whoever can. All right, we need someone who can switch channels. Is paying attention, can keep the action going because you get someone who doesn't know what they're doing. You give them the remote. Next thing you know, the Burger King on. Yeah, the Burger King commercials on. You're missing the action on TNT or whatever TBS, whatever the games are on. So you got to plan that out a little bit.
Yeah, remote guy's underrated. Underrated guy, snack guy. I'd say snack guy, remote guy, stat guy. The guy that has like the weird stat in that order. That's the 3 guys you need at your function.
Yeah. I agree.
But yeah, that's Pirates talk. Do we have Jags of the week?
No.
I do.
I do. How good's yours, Andrew?
I mean, mine's all right. I'll go first. I mean, it's nothing.
Mine's all right. Yeah, mine's nothing crazy either. Go first.
So as you know, I talked about last night down the North Shore. Nicole's friends were out and about. I was like, all right, I'll take you down there, DD. I had nothing else to do. I was gonna come home, probably go to sleep, watch some Law and Order or something. I'm getting old. That's what happens. But it was this one girl's 21st birthday. Her family's with her. We go into Tequila Cowboy, and her dad's there. And he's probably ballparking late 50s, closing it on 60. Doesn't have his ID on him, left it in the car. They're giving him guff trying to cart him. And I'm standing there and I'm just like, I'm starting to give some guff, to the security and the bouncers. I was like, why you need to see this guy's ID? I was like, is he Benjamin Button or something? Like, what are you? And I'm starting to get a little chirping because I'm pretty, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty bored. I'm, just hanging out. I'm trying to find a TV so I can watch the football games, catch the ending of those. And these, it took 5 minutes for them to let him in. And I'm like, yeah, you have bigger fish to fry, like underage college kids using fake IDs. Like, what, you think a 60-year-old man's going to come in with a fake ID? Like, what purpose does that serve? Yeah. So, if you want to be a hardo like that, Jag of the week, get out of here. Get out of here.
Okay. Mine's not too crazy. I didn't really expect to walk into the scenario. But usually on the way when I'm driving to Cranberry, there's a certain Sheets I stop in. And, I use the bathroom, I use the facilities there and whatnot. I walk into this particular one, and this dude took his shirt off to use the urinal. So he popped the top. I don't know why. I didn't think it was, yeah. So I don't know why you need to go shirtless for that, but that's my Jag of the week. I don't know if he spilled something. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but he had it. He took it off, put it over his shoulder, and went to go. So that's my Jag of the week.
Maybe he has VP or something. You guys have VP. You ever have VP? Like early in the morning, and your streams are in a V. You know what I'm talking about.
Your shirt off's just absurd. Like there's things that. Listen, there's few things that will startle a man more than, walking in the bathroom and at a urinal. One thing that I've encountered, and this has been at sporting events, just random places, there's guys at the urinal and their pants as adults are on the ground and they're like you don't want to walk in
all peekers.
Just see a full moon looking at you.
Like just look at the feet. Oh, we don't need your peepers through the crack of the door. Just take that glance under, stall peepers too. I'm throwing that in there.
Speaking of the guys who get like buck ass naked in public to take a poop, those guys, and you'll see like their clothes on the ground. You're like, bud, let's reevaluate this.
Something just went down in there. Like, did you order $50 worth of Taco Bell and you're in the. Is that what?
I don't know if he did one like splatter or like FMJ or something.
Thank God that $50 order wasn't like pay for the car behind me, pay it forward or whatever.
Yeah.
I would just drive off and be like, I'll pay for the one behind me. They're like, oh, it's $50. I'd be like, never mind.
So you
just pull out after that.
But yeah, if you're stripping down in a public restroom to go to the bathroom, something is not right between the ears.
That's why I didn't want to make this guy the Jag. He could have had a stain. It could have just been guys being dudes. He had a rough day and just wanted to pop for a bit, Like, who knows? I'm making him. I didn't want to do it, but I had to do it.
Total dude. I like it.
Even with the benefit
Maybe he was in the men's room. He's like, all bros here. I couldn't do this outside. Just whip it off. Yeah, I don't know.
Guys being dudes. Yeah, it's still a Jag.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Move. If you're stripping in a public restroom, let alone a gas station bathroom, cheat specifically, something is wrong in your life. I'm not going to judge you on that because something has got to be off where you feel the need to do that. And it's not like you're in a stall. People can just walk right in and you're giving them a show. Like, that's either just arrogance or stupidity, and it's probably a combination.
Or confidence. I don't know.
Pay them? Did you slide them a few singles?
No, my eyes were straightforward. Okay.
That's fair.
It's like whenever you're 10 years old and you're walking by Victoria's Secret, eyes straightforward. Yeah. You're not moving the head at all. No.
See, and then there's like the complete opposite, where this is another time down the North Shore. This guy's in the bathroom. It's late at night. The attendant's in there or whatever. Dude's so drunk he thought he pulled his pants down, go in the bathroom. Just went right in his pants, and he's like, and he just looks up. He's like, oh shit, and the attendant's just losing it. He is losing it. Like he knows he's not getting a tip from this guy.
Yeah.
So the dude just, he goes right in his drawers and he's heading right back out there to get another round. That is just, that's just a tough look for anybody at the end of the day. You can't be doing that.
No.
You can't.
Yeah. All right, those are our Jags. Last thing, just former Pittsburgh athlete. Anyone have one?
I do.
All right, go ahead.
Dan, lead it off.
I'll go with 2006 forward. He was a staple on that 2006 team. LaVon Kendall.
Oh,
okay.
Pitt basketball. I was worried. I was worried you're going Penguins.
No.
I'm going with face-off specialist Eric Christensen.
Oh, he was deadly on the shootout too. He was like for the Pens, he was like 4 for 5. He was nasty. Nice.
Slept on.
Yeah.
Slept on. That was a deep cut for me this week.
Okay, should I go hockey or baseball? I'll let you guys vote.
I mean, if you can up the Eric Christensen, I say go hockey. But if you don't, if you're not confident, stick to baseball.
Yeah.
I'm not confident. I'll say Mark Eaton. Just because he had like a weird long neck, kind of like Davis Mills.
He was like the Davis Mills of hockey. Yeah. That might be.
His Adam's apple was just so sharp. You could cut paper with that thing. That's like That's like an elementary paper cutter. You slam that thing down. That's how sharp his Adam's apple was. Look, I'm gonna look it up. If my memory is correct.
Do you think he could be Davis Mills' father?
That guy's neck was so long, dude. Yeah, that's insane.
Put it on the screen.
Look at this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's like Slender Man right there. That pictured into this is like Pittsburgh edition. That's what we're seeing right there. Yeah.
That's a pencil neck if I've ever seen one.
His neck is such a pencil. His chin strap doesn't even go around it.
Jeez.
Look at that.
Like,
strap doesn't even go around it.
It's there for show at that point.
Jeez, that's funny.
Jeez.
Yeah. All right. That's it. So, anything else from you guys before we sign off?
No.
Nope. As always, thanks for listening, subscribing, following, all that jazz.
Yeah. Don't sub to us if you're one of those bathroom people. By the way, we don't want.
Please sub to us. We'll have you on the next episode if
we have someone that can defend themselves.
Yeah.
That's what we need as a guest. Like if you want to openly admit to it, hop on the pod. We need to pick your brain a little bit.
Yeah, I think if you've ever been a Jag of the week, you should have an open invite to come and defend yourself for being a Jag. It's open. It's there. Get a hold of us. DMs are open.
All right. Well, episode 27. Like, subscribe, share it with your grandma, share it with your grandpa, whatever you want to do. Share it with your first grade, second grade, third grade teacher. That's episode 27. See you guys next week.